Hi guys, and welcome to Dee's Media World. Today we're doing episode 19 in my Inuyasha review series, Go Home to Your Own Time, Kagome. So that's a long title, and it pretty much gives away what sort of the ending of this episode is. And by the way, if you hadn't seen the episode, I always put it in the description box below so you can check it out. So this episode is conclusion to what happened with the Sesshomaru and Inuyasha fight. And then the last kind of 5 to 10 minutes is kind of like the break of what happens after that. Usually we see what happens after a fight in the next episode. So in this one, it begins where it left off, where Kagome shot an arrow at Sesshomaru. I mean, not at Sesshomaru, but at the sword, and transformed it back into its regular size. If Kagome, this is what I was talking about in the last episode, how Kagome be talking smack sometimes. Like, she was talking smack to Sesshomaru, like, oh, I'll cut your other arm off. I'm like, if you're gonna do it, then try and do it. Don't be like, do you think Sesshomaru, like, from what she knows of Sesshomaru, do you think he's gonna be intimidated by her? At most, he was annoyed. He was annoyed with her. He wasn't afraid. He was pissed. So, I don't know why she thought he would be intimidated by her saying, "Oh, I'll shoot your other arm off," because I think he lost his right arm. But really, Kagome, like, if you just had done it, like, this is what she should have done. She should have hit the air. She should have just did what she did already, which was hit the Tensaiga, and then instantly after that, shoot somewhere else. Like, don't be like he's supposed to be scared. Like, oh, I'll shoot you if you come on, Kagome. Come on. You know that when she should have known better. I don't know what she was thinking. Actually, that's a good question. What is Kagome thinking in this episode? Inuyasha, Sesshomaru is pissed, and he's like, Inuyasha, tell her to stop, which is pretty funny to me because he's giving her a chance. He's like, all right, Inuyasha, this is the second time your little girlfriend has pissed me off. I still remember that last time. Get it together. You shut her up. And, of course, Kagome still, even though Inuyasha tells her not to, she still tries to attack Sesshomaru. Sesshomaru kind of cracks me up. He tricks the arrow. It was like, okay, I gave you a warning. You didn't listen. Literally dissolves it. Literally dissolves it with his poison claws or whatever. And then he kind of attacks Kagome. And Inuyasha basically saves Kagome at the last second. Which is I expected. Inuyasha actually wasn't really pissed off, though. He was kind of like, oh, I appreciate it. Because, Kagome, I said last time, is pretty loyal. So, you can't be too mad at her, even though she could act more than she talks in this case. Normally, Inuyasha acts and talks a lot at the same time. Like, he'll talk smack, but he also will fight. But Kagome was talking a little more smack than what was necessary. Jokin tells Moroku about Naraku, about how he gave him the Shamosho because he knew about Moroku. And, Moroku beats him in a pulp. Jokin was stupid, too. He was like, what did Moroku say? This is my fate. Like, he was feeling sick from the poison. And Moroku was like, oh, this is my fate for being a mere mortal or something. And Jokin's like, don't look at me for sympathy. And it gets literally clocked. That's pretty hilarious. He gets beaten up to a pulp, literally. Kagome gives Moroku some type of medicine. And I have no idea what medicine she gave him because it came in a soda can, and he drinks it like it's a drink. So they actually never addressed this, but what kind of antidote does she have? Like, what antidote gets rid of that kind of poison? Because they never seen that kind of poison before, and it's not a common poison. So I'm curious what she used. Like, I'm legitimately curious because this isn't the only time Roku will get poisoned, but I'm curious what antidote does she have, and it never occurred to me before. But I'm like, she had it in a soda can? Like, what? What kind of antidote is that? I don't know. Let's see. Kind of obvious that what Sesshomaru... Oh, they figure out that he's been using... Inuyasha figure out that Sesshomaru's been using a human arm with a jewel shard. And I was thinking, isn't that kind of obvious? Like, how else would he have done it? All of you know, Kagome, Inuyasha, and Sesshomaru know it takes a human arm, or a half-demon, I guess, to pick up the Tensaiga. So isn't it obviously a human arm? Like, couldn't he have smelled it was a human arm and just by looking tell that was a human arm, and that clearly he had to use the jewel shard to connect it because Kagome sensed the jewel shard? I don't know. Maybe Inuyasha's kind of slow. I don't know. But I was like, it's kind of obvious. Kagome does hit Shishomaru's armor, I believe, but she almost gets killed because Shishomaru had enough with her again. And of course, she doesn't listen. And Inuyasha protects her, but she kind of hits her head or something like that. Kagome usually doesn't get, if you watch the show, even though she can't really defend herself like other characters can, she usually is the one who gets the least amount of like injuries. Like, I've noticed that. I think maybe Kagome is the creator's favorite character, because there are very few times I feel that Kagome actually gets injured. I think one episode later on she might have sprained her ankle or something, but nothing to the severity of almost dying. Like, she always almost dying as in from an injury. Like, she, of course, millions of times she gets saved at the last minute, but does she get hurt from that? No. Let's see. Moroku wants to attack with his wind tunnel again, but he doesn't because he would get killed. There were still more Shamosho there because there was plenty of them. Tries to get rid of... Oh, Inuyasha tries to get rid of the human arm that Shishomaru has, and Moroku straight up impales him. I mean, not Moroku. Shishomaru, like, straight up digs his hand through the middle of Inuyasha's chest. Now, unless Inuyasha doesn't have a heart... Like, I think the heart is located, like, somewhere in this... Where's the heart located? Like, over here, maybe? So, yeah, I could see that he missed his heart. But how does someone get impaled in the middle of their chest like that and come out of it okay? And I realize now that I got the order wrong of when Shishomaru dissolves Kagome's arrow. My bad. That was actually after. That was later on. Because I'm actually looking at it while I'm also reading my notes. So, my bad, guys. But that's what happens. But still, how does he get his chest impaled? That actually is a good question. Inuyasha does get his sword back from Shishomaru. And, but he can't... Something happens to Inuyasha where he, like... I don't know what to call it, but he gets the sword, can't really lift it because I'm sure he's exhausted. But he kind of... It's almost like... I don't know what to call it. He, like, kind of passes out, sort of, but not with the sword in tow. And I don't know what to call what that is. But Shishomaru says, if he thinks to himself, if I move, he'll strike me down. I actually am curious how that would have worked. Like, I don't know. I thought that was interesting. I don't know. Inuyasha passes out from exhaustion. Shishomaru leaves because he's like, well, I lost this one. So he gives back the jewel shard and the arm. The arm almost burns him alive, so to speak. He goes and sees Naraku again. What does kind of crack me up is Naraku's like, that he didn't win the fight or something. He says something like, he lost. I don't even know if he called him a fool too. I don't remember. But he's like, he lost the fight. And then Shishomaru shows up behind him. And Naraku kind of not blanches, but you could tell he was just not expecting that. That kind of cracks me up. He's like, let me move over here. Because Shishomaru was standing right under him. That was funny. Shishomaru cuts his head off, but not really because Naraku wasn't really there. It was just a puppet or something, or he just escaped, however that works. And then we cut back to we see Hachi, and he's carrying wherever Hachi came from. Where did Hachi? Last time we saw him was just 2 episodes ago when we first see Moroku. But where was Hachi? He was somewhere in the area, I guess. I don't know, but I think it's the next day or something like that because it's sunlight out. And Shippo tells Kagome about the fact that Naraku sent the Shamosho and all that kind of stuff, and Kagome is like, let's not tell Inuyasha yet about this. He's exhausted, yada yada. And she's sitting here explaining to Shippo, but I'm like, Inuyasha's right there. Like, do you think he's sleeping? Like, when does Inuyasha really sleep in the show? But, I mean, he sleeps sometimes, but he has super hearing. He's a dog demon. He can definitely hear you talking, and you're sitting over there explaining it just a couple feet away. I'm like, do you really think he's not hearing you right now? Okay, Kagome. So we're finally at the... This was a really long summary. I guess a lot happens in this episode. But At the end, Kagome and Inuyasha go into the forest, and Moroku and Shippo try to follow, but they get almost cussed out by Inuyasha. And long story short, Inuyasha, he tells Kagome, it's dangerous. He's like, yeah, I see you're stronger now. He embraces her throws her on the ground. He shows her that he has a jewel shard, throws her on the ground, pushes her down the well. Now, he embraces her. The way he embraces her is genuine, though. And we know that Inuyasha cares about Kagome. That's not really the questioning here. But, Inuyasha's not an affectionate character or guy. He's not someone who's going to hug, a woman that he cares about unless, he feels certain, like after a certain level of time or something. Especially later on in the show. Because I was actually really watching this episode again. I'm like, yeah, it seems not out of character, but I find it really interesting that Inuyasha just embraces Kagome like that. And I liked it. But even though, I guess, the way he did it was just to push her on the ground and take her jewel shard. That was kind of messed up. That was a Moroku move, actually. He pushed her down the well with no sympathy. That was kind of cold, though. He didn't have to do it like that. He didn't have to do Kagome like that. She deserved it. She deserved that. He just said, I'll give you a hug, throw you on the ground, push you down the well. And basically at the end, we find out that Kagome can't go back because he took her jewel shards. So that was kind of messed up. And then we'll find out what happens in the next episode. I don't remember what the next episode is called, to be honest. At all. I don't really remember at all what it's called. But this was a good episode. I liked it. I like seeing Sesshomaru. I like, we see a little bit how Naraku works. He's trying to use Sesshomaru to kill Inuyasha, and he even says, like, oh, I'll try and, next time I might use you again or something to Sesshomaru. And one thing that I forgot to say in the last episode, Naraku basically, Sesshomaru asked Naraku, are you using me to kill Inuyasha for you? And Naraku's like, yes. And then Sesshomaru's like, okay. Like, he's kind of like, okay, whatever. And in this case, I think, Sesshomaru, I don't know if he was really pissed off at Naraku or not. I guess he was kind of like, this jerk, like, this fool, he tried me. So I think that's all I really have to say about this episode. I know I say that almost all the episodes are good episodes. This one's an okay one, I guess. I realize this is not my favorite appearance of Sesshomaru. In the beginning of the show, I enjoy him, but I like him so much better later on, or I find him more intriguing later on. So, but it takes character development to get to that point. I liked, there's some Inuyasha Kagome stuff going on here. Am I an Inuyasha Kagome fan? Sure. Sure. I think when I first watched the show, I think I cared a lot more. Now that I'm older and I generally know how the show runs, I now I'm just kind of used to it. I think I've seen these episodes multiple times now, because I've probably seen this episode 4 or 5 times, not even including just reviewing it, like just watching it last night. So it's cool. I do like moments between Inuyasha Kagome, Moroku, Shippo was helpful in this. Moroku makes a joke about kiss, you might have to kiss. What did he say? You might have to put the poison, the antidote mouth or whatever, put through his mouth or whatever. I was like, silly, just being silly. But things pick up a little bit more after this. This is just kind of this was a way of kind of a 1-2 hit. Like, hey, let's push Sesshomaru and Naraku in this episode, and introduce Naraku and stuff like that. So yeah, that was episode 19. Whoa. We're almost on the 20th episode. Next time I do a review, it'll be 20 episodes. And we'll go through 20 episodes of this almost 200 episode show. Not even counting the movies. Oh, man. But anyway, I have the episode in the description box if you have not seen it. It's probably too late to say that now. But I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And I hope to hear from you soon. See you later.